Hey everybody, hope you're having a great Friday. So I wanted to ask you guys a question today. It was based off of talking to a client of mine yesterday, and I thought I would reach out and see how you guys are all doing as well. Are you headed toward burnout in your job? Um, I know that we don't often ask that, right? We just sort of do and go and try to figure it out. But I'm really curious if you think maybe you might be headed toward burnout. And before we get into that, my name is Jackie Schwab. I am I'm a professional success coach. You can find more about me at jackieschwab.com and also the founder of the Press Play Lifestyle Signature System. And so back to the important stuff here. So I was talking to one of my clients actually yesterday, and she's a physician and she's got a little girl at home, a little 2-year-old, and a little baby on the way, and she just got a huge promotion. So, of course, she's excited, but she's also a little bit stressed and worried because she has experienced burnout in the past, and she was running a very large um, clinic and seeing, like, I think she said 25,000 visits a year. And now she knew that what she was taking on was going to be extremely stressful. And she had a baby coming, and now she had her own child already. And so she was really nervous that something like this might happen again. And so we talked through a little bit about um, what burnout was and maybe some ideas and some strategies to help her stave off the burnout in her life. And I was hoping that you guys would find this helpful and I'd share a little bit of that with you. So, if you've been dealing with a lot of stress in your life, if it started getting to the point where you're falling behind at work, you feel like you're just doing things, you don't have any motivation for doing them, you're not sleeping well, maybe you're even eating really crappy foods because like those are the options you have because you're super busy, that's definitely a sign that you're headed toward potential burnout. And burnout is really a result of extreme chronic stress. And so all the things you would expect to find with stress come along with that as well. So I don't have to tell you what the effects of stress are. And if you need me to, I can do that some other time. But uh, ideally, what we're really trying to get after are what are a few ideas to help you stave off or manage that stress and hopefully head burn off. Now, of course, there's a gazillion, bazillion, million different things that you can do, but a few of these were ones that were important that we had talked about in our session. So I thought I would share those. So one of those is to find an activity that you really enjoy. And I know that might seem like really small. And you hear a lot of people go like, we pick a hobby, but it is important because if you find an activity you enjoy, then you actually have a reason to leave the office and go home. In her case, she really felt it was just super important for her to tuck her 2-year-old in at night. And that's different than some people might say, well, my another person that I talked to a couple weeks ago on a podcast of mine, she really loves to knit. And so she would leave the office because she had an important project that she was working on, right? A knitting project that she was working on. So one of the first things that you can do is that you like can't live without doing so that you want to leave the office. And so then the next was getting better sleep. And this might be a little bit more unique for her exact situation, but because she was an on-call physician while she was very, very pregnant, she was getting up at 4 in the morning, going into the office and helping. But there was options for her to trade shifts with other people or to do the really late on call, switch out with someone. No one likes being on call that early, but it's so imperative, right, for expected mama to get some good sleep. But it's no less important for all the rest of us as well. So finding yourself a good sleep schedule, maybe going to bed at the same time every night, even if you're very, very busy, working on no sleep isn't going to help you be less stressed. And the next one, which was interesting, and it just happened to show up in a really cute way during the session. She had got up about 6 a.m. and because she had to be in surgery. She was not personally, but she was doing the surgery. And, she hadn't eaten yet, and our session was, like, late afternoon, and thankfully, she had a great support system that she'd already built in place, and in the middle of the session, there's a little knock on the door, and one of the nurse practitioners had brought her in some lunch, which is fantastic, right? And it was a healthy lunch, and it wasn't, soda pop and bad things for you, but if you put good things in your body will perform better for you. And it's super easy for us when we're running around stressed out in a hurry all of the time to maybe make less than optimal choices on the things that we put inside of our body. But not choosing good foods actually doesn't fuel your body well. So consider having some better food choices so that you have the right fuel in your body to help you manage the stress. Along with that, which I thought was great, was making sure you stay hydrated. So she was carrying around her water bottle with her, um, and it was a stainless steel water bottle, so she could put some things like essential oils and things in there. But she did carry a water bottle around, which was super important to her, especially being expecting. But your brain is mostly made of water, right? So if you're dehydrated, it's just going to exacerbate your stress and symptoms. So try to do what you can to start adding in this idea of hydration being important for you to stave off some of the stress. Um, Another one which is different for everyone, maybe don't call it exercise if you have some offended wording toward that, but movement, right? Keeping your body in motion, taking the time out to get energy. One example, it just proves it to me sometimes because I'm not always the best about acting on on the exercise side was um, I'm very cold, right? I live in Wisconsin. It's like 16 degrees right now, and I'm always cold. But I noticed in the morning when I use our treadmill that I have to take off my sweatshirt and then take off the other shirt, and then I only have on like my sports bra. And I was like, what the heck is this about? It's like, it's 65 degrees in the house because it's the morning and we haven't warmed it up yet. And it's because movement gives you energy, right? It actually kinetically makes you warmer. And so if you really are struggling with like not having the energy that you need, don't go run a marathon if you haven't been really active, but it doesn't hurt to go for I only walk about 3 to 3.2 miles an hour. And I get myself a little worked up. So if you need a break, if you're feeling icky or you're feeling a bit stressed, just go for a walk around the block. Now, this one, my client found very, very difficult, and I thought, like, how sweet. I definitely wish she was my doctor, right? She said it's really hard for her to say no because it's always about patient care. She wants to make sure that all the moms to be feel safe and all of them have been well taken care of. But the problem is, if she always says yes, then something is said no to, right? So what ends up happening is she says no to that important activity of being able to tuck her daughter in, or she says no to the activity of getting exercise, or no to having a nice solid lunch. And she's already in a very high stress, high pressure job. So adding in the kind of people pleasing, always saying yes is really difficult. And so one tip and trick that going to try out, we'll see how it goes, is actually from Brene Brown. She does a lot of really great work on shame, which if you like reading, she's a great author. But she actually has a ring that she uses that says she always thinks what the answer no first because it's easier for her to say yes. And then she convinces herself of the yes. And sometimes even just the slowing down and thinking about it a little bit gives you the information that you need to make a really solid, positive no decision. Because every time you say yes to something, you are saying no to something else. Another one that I really, really like is this idea, and we shared this quite a bit, which is being less accessible. And how can you put that into practice, though, or what does that mean? So, being less accessible means to block your calendar out after 6 o'clock so that people can't auto schedule something. If you work in a company that does like scheduling templates, in her case, stop rounds at 4 so that her last client's at 4 o'clock. Um, don't have your phone on and giving your cell phone number out to all of the people that can reach out to you put it on silent, do not disturb. It is not your job to be 100% accessible for everyone all the time. Like, for heaven's sakes, do not take your phone into the bathroom with you. If you take a bath, take a bath. You don't need your phone there. You don't need to be always reachable. There's a time and a place for that, and it's not every single day. Even if you are a doctor, even if you are a firefighter, you can go to the bathroom and then address the call. So it's really important to consider, how accessible you're allowing yourself to be, because that extra accessibility can certainly add to the burnout. And last but not least, because there's a bazillion other great opportunities to reduce your stress, but is to find a coach or an accountability partner, because it can really be supportive to have someone reminding you of what your yeses were, right? Your yes is your daughter. What's an anchor to remind you of your daughter? Maybe it's a cute smelling sock, that she has, a baby sock, or maybe it's her cute little barrette that you love for her. So it's super important that when you're in a high stress work environment, or you're feeling the anxiety sneaking up on you, or you're feeling the stress start to bubble up, that you take time for yourself and realize that maybe you need some support, so that you don't overdo it, right? That you're not doing too much, that you're not saying no to all the important things and saying yes to everyone else's needs. So hopefully you got value from this video. If you know someone who might be on the verge of burnout, or who might be really stressed, please like this video or share it with them, share it with a friend. And come on over to the free Success with Balance for Entrepreneurs Facebook group. That's where other people who have entrepreneurs have very high stress jobs, right? People who have high stress jobs, how they're looking to manage that stress and that burnout. This is Jackie Schwab reminding you to embrace your pause, play the game you want to win, and prosper with a life by design, not by default. All right, guys, we'll see you after the weekend on Monday morning. Have a wonderful day.